In order to load the transport with the adequate equipment to perform a sludge and dry waste landing service, one will require the following security equipment: helmets, masks, a blowhorn, a lifeline, an earth line, first aid kit, and very important, a spill containment kit with sealable plastic bags, an oil containment barrier, pillows, and containment rags. Also, for personnel, cask boots, rubber gloves, and uniform will be required. Proper sludge transfer hose will be required, preferably 2-inch in width, 30 meters in length depending on the length between the pipe truck and the vessel, and these should stand up to 150 psi of pressure and up to 180 Fahrenheit. These should have a female connection on one end and a male on the other. Transfer checklist. Sterycicle's person in charge of the oil transfer is not scheduled to be in charge for a period longer than 6 hours. Prior to commencement of the oil transfer, all the valves have been checked and closed properly. Proper instructions to the vessel's person in charge and the transfer team have been provided. Ensure that Sterycicle's transfer team on land is well rested, understands English, and is supplied with a two-way radio, an air horn, and understands the emergency procedures. Make sure that the vessel's person in charge has verified that the tank truck is empty before beginning operations. Check with the deck watch officer whether the vessel is securely docked alongside. Communication system should be agreed upon. Vessel's engineer, person in charge, has no other duties other than being for the duration of the transfer. Sterycicle's person in charge should supervise each transfer hose's connection. Discharge system or suction valves are sealed or secured in a closed position. Hoses or loading arms are not exposed to kinking damage. Transfer hoses should be flexible, well supported, in good condition, and of proper length. Before transfer, Sterycicle's person in charge and vessel's person in charge should check that the tank truck is empty. Prior to transfer, the following should be confirmed. Check that the truck spill kit is available. All equipment, such as flange connections, lifting appliances, etc., used during the transference should be in good condition. A blowhorn is available in order to bring attention in case of emergency. Discharge containment equipment should be available. There should be a person in charge on top of the tank truck supervising the discharge. The hose on top of the tank truck should be dully secured. The person on top of the tank truck has a secured lifeline and all necessary equipment. All connections in the oil transfer system should be leak-free and, if practicable, not over the water. Emergency shutdown should be operable and spill procedures should be in place. No hot work authorized. No fires, open flames, matches, and welding should be allowed. Adequate lighting, preferably between sunset and sunrise. Smoking is forbidden. Sufficient personnel should be on duty. Sterycicle's person in charge and vessel engineer's person in charge are on duty at the site of the transfer. The vessel's person in charge will be stationed in the ECR during the transfer. Sterycicle's person in charge has valid written test records available for transfer hose. Sterycicle's person in charge and vessel engineer's person in charge should maintain a copy of the facility's operation manual or vessel's oil transfer procedures during the transfer and conduct the transfer in accordance with these. Sterycicle's person in charge should have the following pre-transfer conference with the vessel's person in charge: the product and the amount to be transferred, the sequence of transfer operations and a review of the pre-offloading plan, the pumping rate and pressure, the name, title and locations of person taking part of the transfer, the critical details of both transferring and receiving systems, the critical stages of the transfer operations, the federal, state and local regulations that may apply, emergency procedures of both systems, discharge, containment and reporting procedures as per SOPEP. Watch over shift arrangements should be discussed. Frequency when using radios also. All hose connections should be leak-free. Ship superstructure openings should be closed. Bilge and ventilation precautions should be observed. Emergency stop of transfer pump should be tested. All valves should be properly aligned. Agreement to begin transfer, inform the vessel, person in charge, tank truck, barge, facilities, person in charge, and the deck watch officer. Sterycicle's person in charge must show at all times a transfer hose certificate. Showing the certificate, the transfer should proceed, and it should be ensured that a Sterycicle's person in charge observes the transfer hose during the transfer to ensure that the transfer can be immediately stopped in the event of a hose failure. After Sterycicle's person in charge has received this transfer checklist with name, signature, date, and time of signing from the vessel's person in charge, one should complete the following checks during the external oil transfer. At start of transfer, record the time. Monitor the pressure on the transfer line with the person in charge from the vessel. Take regular soundings, gauge readings of all tanks being filled. Continue to sound gauge readings of tanks that have been filled to ensure that oil is not continuing to enter in those tanks. Ensure that vessel's person in charge of pumping control is informed prior to stopping and topping off. Complete the following checks after the external transfer. After stopping the transfer, record the time. The transfer hose should be blown down and drained clear prior to disconnecting. Close the valves to the main filling line and facility. Inform the senior engine watch officer and deck watch officer that transfer is completed. MARPOL waste reception receipt. After having delivered the service required by the vessel, one should have the reception facility and port particulars, the name of facility, the registration number and date of authorization, the MARPOL receipt number, the port where the service took place, the terminal, the waste discharge date and time, and also the ship particulars, such as the name of ship serviced, the gross tonnage, the call sign, the IMO number, the owner or operator, the flag state, and the type of ship serviced. Following, one would write down the type and amount of waste received. Under MARPOL Annex 1, if there was oily bilge water, oily water from sludge tank, oily residues such as sludge, oily tank washings, etc. Under MARPOL Annex 5, garbage offloaded, such as mixed dry garbage, incinerator ash, plastic, scrap metal, aluminium cans, crushed glass, wooden pallets, etc. This is now handed over to the environmental officer or the chief engineer, and one would need their signature and stamp. Services Quality Questionnaire. Ensure that after a service has been completed, one should hand the captain, the environmental officer, or the chief engineer with this quality questionnaire. In our ongoing quest to provide quality services to all our customers, we would appreciate the completion of this simple questionnaire. One should place the port where the service is taking place, the ship, the date, the start time, the finish time, and the certificate MARPOL receipts number. One should ask the person in charge to please indicate the collection service requested amongst the viewed, and using the grading scale below, how would he rate our service in the 4 categories also given in the questionnaire. The service requested was attended on time and according to your requirements, one would have to ask. The operation was carried out securely and all security equipment was in place. A waste reception certificate was handed out when the service was completed. Also, if he would like to give comments about our services and how we can improve for them in the future, and one should ask for the ship's signature and stamp, the name of the environmental officer, the captain, or the chief engineer.